What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Indie Inkwell. I am one of your two co-hosts, JJ. Unfortunately, my co-host Michael cannot make it this week. His Air Force duties have once again kept him away from us, but we still have an episode to do. We still have a guest for tonight. Please, everybody, welcome. I don't want to butcher your last name. Is Joseph
Joseph Mercado.
Mercado? Okay,
Yep.
I'm. Last names are always tricky. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to mess it up.
Yeah. We
But
can do the
also goes
rolling.
by
We can
DJ Dimension, which I
DJ
love that
Dimension.
name.
All right, thank you. Nice.
So we like to start off every show with the guest's origin story, kind of how you got started on this whole path that has led you to putting out comic books and doing your youth outreach and everything. But I guess we should start at the beginning though, because you started as a DJ, right?
Yeah, I started as a DJ. I'm still a DJ. I like to call it electronic music artist because I started out as a DJ, but then I went into producing music, underground house music at the time, and which stemmed from b-boy in the '80s. I'm originally from the South Bronx and grew up in Harlem, New York
Okay, so
City.
hip hop original stuff. Okay, got
Right,
you.
right, exactly, like the b-boy breakdancing stuff, and then that moved on into house music for me in the '80s, and my music partner for the group that back in the day was called Mega Men. It's still active, but back in the day, like in the late '90s and early 2000s, when we started the journey. That's when we were really influential coming out of New York City. So that's where the story begins. I'm born in South Bronx and was raised in Harlem, New York City during the '70s and '80s, and influenced by music, graffiti, comic books. Everything was at that time. It felt like it was brand new. We didn't know that it was hip hop music, and we didn't know that it was. We knew that it was Spider-Man, but we didn't know that it was going to be the Spider-Man that we know.
Right, because at the
You
time it
know,
hadn't been around that long. I mean,
right.
no,
you know,
that's
so,
awesome though.
so that's the cool part about that. And then transcending that through the years, I've had experiences as a DJ, electronic music artist. I've traveled throughout the United States, and I've also released music globally. Um, for a while, I had a little following in Germany for
Oh,
like
nice.
yeah, for something that I created kind of on by mistake. I think it was kind of like a techno kind of uh, track, but then I would add hip hop influences into it, like voices
I'll
and
say they seem
samples
to
and
love
stuff.
that kind of stuff over there.
Yeah, and it was late '90s and stuff, so it got repressed during the years and became kind of like a little following that kind of kept it going in a fun way throughout the years.
I'll say so you got to really
Mhm.
participate in like the height of that whole like genre, really, like that
Oh
whole
yeah,
house
yeah.
music dance, like 90s dance party stuff.
Yeah. I have music right over here in my studio where I was released, and as the dope CDs that open up, and you see the mixed compilations, house music, drum and bass, hip hop, electro mix, all the different compilations. I was down with all that stuff, all in the early days. We were uh, we were kind of like doing it on foot, hitting the record labels in New
Oh
York,
yeah.
and yeah, man, we would basically take the demos straight out of the Beat Machine, the MPC 2000, and then get them onto tape, and then we get them onto some of the record labels. We had good relationships with Strictly Rhythm and another record label that originally put us out in the late '90s, BML, by a group called the Atomic Babies, and they were kind of like hip hop, breakbeat, electronic music, kind of clash kind of thing, and they really enjoyed our stuff, and that was kind of like one of the really exciting times. It was about 1997, and we had maybe, for somebody that's new, I had about like 10 compilations out like within like 2 years. So it
Phew.
was
I was
yeah,
gonna say I
yeah,
used
yeah,
to do music
yeah.
too, so I know what it takes
Mhm.
to put out that kind of volume in that amount of time. That's some work,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, yeah. But it was fun, and we were doing it, and getting that physical content was kind of like a key message. Like these days, when we put out when we put out stuff. I put out music still, and sometimes it ends up licensed for video games, or I've had some success with some Netflix, things like that. But it doesn't feel the same, like as opposed to having that record or that
Right,
CD.
like, it's the
You
same
know,
thing with comics, right? Like, it's something
right?
different to have,
Exactly,
like, the physical product, like, in your
exactly.
hand,
Yep,
like
yep. Very, yep. Very. It's very cool to have that thing in your hand and read it and you're like, wow, this is cool, and you put it in your collection. And even if you just maybe even never enjoy it, like read it, it's still
Right.
something that the person cherishes
I
for
would
that
say because
particular
I was
reason.
still making music in the days when you would still burn a bunch of mixtapes and you'd take them
Yeah,
to
yeah.
the venue you're doing a show at and you hand them out in
Hmm.
line, like
Yep. Nice. Yep. Nice. Yeah, I miss the CDs. Miss the CDs. Yeah.
those got dangerous though, because I had some buddies that did music too, and they would, like, throw them off the stage like Frisbees, and they're in those, like, plastic paper sleeves, dude,
Yeah,
those
yeah,
would
yeah,
catch
yeah.
people, man,
Yeah, yeah. Take out some people's eyes or
for
something there.
sure.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
in his eyes, he's like, "Hey, maybe that'll make them listen to it." Like
Yeah, 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 man. Get the reflexes up, the superpowers into
Right.
action.
So, you grew up, like, right in the time when comic books were, like, I guess, in the golden and, like, silver age, like,
Hmm.
heavy well, not golden age, that's, like, the '30s and stuff, but you know what I mean? Like, it was, like,
Yeah.
prime Spider-Man, prime Avengers. Were there any characters or, like, books that you really, like, enjoyed when you were a kid, or was it kinda just
Uh,
a general here and there thing?
when I was little kid, when I would go hang out with my dad, um, every weekend I would get an Archie Digest comic book.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's a really fond memory. Throughout time, I got into the Spider-Man. My favorite was always Hulk. Hulk is a big inspiration. Just like in life in general, just somebody that had to you got to maintain, during
Right.
during the
That'll
hardcore
make my buddy
times.
Loco very happy to hear because he's a huge Hulk fan.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I love Hulk. And throughout time, just anything that was original, because into the '90s, I enjoyed Spawn and those things that came out of Image. And then now, I really enjoy reading the indie things that I get from fellow comic creators and stuff.
Mhm.
So just, like, I'm just enjoying the culture, overall is a
It's a
really
lot
amazing
less
thing.
competitive than the music scene seems to be.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's
Everybody
been
seems to, like, wanna help each other instead of,
yeah.
like, prove they're better than the other.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's one thing that when I've started to make a change in about 2015, and for a couple of years I was like, I didn't know what was going on. I was just kind of still doing music and stuff, but it was almost kind of like out of habit, I feel,
Right, it
and,
was just a routine at that point.
ride a routine out of at that point. I have a record label, and it was at that point 10 years old, and the streaming services started to come up, and then our opportunities as artists, being a record label or being a independent artist, putting your music out, became something to where the payback wasn't there anymore.
I would say
You know,
streaming is, like, half of a penny.
Yeah, streaming is half of a penny. So now, it's taking years to come to terms to where it's like, all right, cool. This is it's a content thing, and that's cool. So how did I uh, uh, find a new way, and for me it was like through comic books, and through that way I was like, wow, I remember this as a young dude, and at first it was more like a kid mind,
Mhm.
like a kid thought, kids are gonna love this. And as I've gotten more into it, I see that people are loving it, and people are really enjoying it, and that's kind of like a cool thing that is really like lighting the fire on the comic book project, you know, really,
Yeah,
really cool.
100%. Because I
Hmm.
mean, there's so many good stories to be had in comic books for adults and kids. It's
Hmm.
crazy. And,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I tell people all the time, one of the main reasons we started the show, comic books are not just capes and tights.
Right. Yep. Exactly. Yep. And anything that we want it to be. When I work with my artist Creation 80, we come up with storylines, and sometimes we just, share an idea with him, and he smiles, and he's like, we can kind of do whatever we like to do within our boundaries and what we create, and that's what's become such amusedness, and taking it we're like 4 issues in now, basically working on the fourth issue.
And it's such a low barrier to entry nowadays too for it
Mhm.
because, back in the day, you had to have like a whole printing company behind everything and you had to pitch stuff to publishers. But now with the way things are, you can make your own stuff for very pretty cheap, honestly, as
Yeah, you
far
can.
as what it used to cost people.
You can. Yep. You have some of the spots online. Like when I started originally, I worked with a couple online printing spots, and then printing presses, and then I found a couple here in Phoenix, and then I found one, and now I've had a relationship with them for about over 2 years, and it's pretty cool going to you're going to print your stuff, and you're coming home with your comic books, and it's like it's there. It's something that we can do, just like you
Right. It's
said.
something you put a lot of
Yeah,
effort into and it became real and now it's here and you can
yeah,
actually touch it.
yeah, yeah. Even 10 years ago, I can safely say 5, 10 years ago, it was more difficult with all the technology. The way technology is kind of easier, it seems to use now. Just in the last 5 years, it, it brings it together in such a smooth way where it's something that I want to keep going. You know, I talk about issue 5, and we're not even there yet.
Right. Yeah. Oh, dude, that's the best mentality to have though, because like you've got, you're playing the long game at that point.
Right, right. Yep, exactly. And it feels good. It feels good to be able to be like, all right, cool. I'm able to have enough story, I have enough content, or we have enough relationships in the community to where we can, bring something that it'll be fun for everybody involved.
Yeah. So how did you get originally like introduced to the indie comic book scene? Because I know it's kind of a community that not a lot of people don't even know exists for the most part.
Mhm.
So how did you kind of find your way in there to start doing this?
In about 2018, like I told you, in about 2015, I started to like I wasn't feeling happy about my music career, because at that point it was basically just music. It felt like it had dried up, and I was like, at this point, what am I gonna do? How am I gonna switch this up? It began to actually affect me, to be honest, uh, mentally unhealthy, where I wasn't feeling good about things. Um, Source of anxiety and depression, things like that, started to
Mhm.
come into play, and then it came through. Really realizing it, and then through meditation I started to imagine comic characters, and then I started to kind of draw them very rough. And I remember at the time I showed my fiance. I was like, hey, I want to do a comic character, and it's going to be this guy, and it's basically nothing. It was just an idea, just a thought, me speaking it into existence. And then at that time, I found artists online. There's a wrestling entertainment company out here called Lucha Boss, and he had a caricature drew of himself for his wrestling entertainment company. And I was like, yo, that's dope. That guy looks really dope. How do you? Who drew that for you? And then he puts me in connection with Alvin Morales. Morales is a super artist out here based in Phoenix. He's done stuff for Transformers, IDW. He's done covers for Yellow Ranger. I think he's done some stuff for Image as well.
Okay.
And so I reach out to him and tell him my story, my idea. I want to create an origin story of whatever happens to DJ Dimension. That's my character name, but I wanted to make it into a sci-fi thing, and it became my journey of starting to put away um, something that happened to me. I actually didn't talk about that in 2003 at the top of my music game. At that point, I was creating a tour. I was DJing in Times Square and Megastore. I was on MTV too. I was on Telemundo. I DJed at a place in Miami called The Roof. It was a show on Telemundo. And at that point, I had a bad accident while I was involved in the music scene where it almost took my life. And like around 2003, I moved here to Phoenix from New York City. And it was a welcome change. I just needed to change. I moved
Change
here
of
for
environment and
yeah, yeah.
completely.
I had moved here. I had visited here um, like the year before, vacation with the family, and then the following year decided to make the choice to come out here and try to do something fresh, and everything. It was totally different. We lived in. I remember there was like cotton fields out there and no type of transportation, and I was like, wow, what is this? So it's
I would say coming
it,
from, you said the Bronx, I'm sure that was a culture shock to say the
yeah,
least.
it was, and then being from New York, I didn't drive,
Right.
so so
See, I don't even think about that because I'm from Ohio, so, like, to get anywhere, you have to drive, but
right. So I was like walking miles. I was like, yeah, I could do this. I used to walk 5 miles in New York, like nothing, and 5 miles in
in
Phoenix,
the desert is a
Arizona.
little different.
Yeah, exactly. I even took up hitchhiking maybe once or twice by accident. So, the things that you do. But uh, I moved here. Um, made a fresh start. At that time, I actually created a record label called Next Dimension Music. That's the uh, that's the NDM and NDM digital music, Next Dimension Music, and it was
Oh, okay.
a digital record label, one of the first digital record labels on Beatport, and it was before you needed a online distributor to get your stuff. Say like now you can get them in Apple Music, Spotify,
Mhm.
Tidal if you release music. In 2003, I wrote a proposal to Beatport, and I was one of the first record labels to get started up on Beatport. And that was like the beginning of the MP3 streaming generation. Streaming
Yeah, I
came
remember
about,
all that stuff.
yeah, so it became the transition from vinyl CDs to that.
That
And
was the
then
LimeWire age.
yeah, exactly. Yep, exactly. Yep, you hit it right on the point. The bear
How
share.
many people killed their computers with LimeWire back in the
Yep,
early 2000s? Let
I
me
think
know
I
in the
killed two
comment
or three.
section if you did.
Amazing. Yep, the bear share, LimeWire. But
Oh,
we
yeah.
had the stack of CDs.
Oh, yeah,
So
the blanks,
yep.
I had, like, s dude, I had multiple stacks, and
Yep.
the internet was so slow back then, it'd take you 2 months to download 1 CD's worth of
Yeah,
songs.
yeah, and that was amazing. We've come a long way, So that's when I started that record label, and then I got into licensing, and it was a part-time thing. I did it for fun, for the love, but I was able to do some cool stuff within the first wave of it before it started to change and
Yeah.
and become a different thing. Actually, next year is the label's 20 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, coming up soon. So that's something that I still do, but it's a different style and stuff. And something that I did at that time that I didn't know that was going to affect my future during my life a transition was I started working with at-risk kids. At that time I needed a job, and I was out here in Phoenix, and I was like, all right, man, you ain't got no car, you need a job. I was cooking like in a kitchen at that time, but that was only about
Oh, I've been
seven
there,
bucks
done
an hour
that.
or something like. And so I was like, I applied at this treatment center for kids, and I started working with one of the. It was a detention alternative unit for kids out of jail and foster homes, and it was one of the first here in Phoenix, and I got the opportunity to work on the unit, and then eventually become the unit lead, and then become the treatment center lead within about 10 years. So
Awesome.
yeah, that leads to the other part of creating the comic book and then fusing it together with the workshops and
I was
with
gonna
my
say, let's talk
life
about that real
experience.
quick. That's a
Yep,
perfect
cool,
segue because we've got
nice, thank you.
NDMComix here. I mean, if you are into hip hop and you look at this art style, it screams hip hop, like house party. Like yeah,
Nice.
I
Yep,
love
yep,
it.
yep. Yeah, when we work with the artists, originally I have Albert Morales that was more like a chibi style, graph style. With the artist I work with now is Creation 80, and we wanted to bring that real like that urban b-boy um, real feel to it,
I say it looks
to
like something you could see graffitied on a wall.
yeah, yeah. Well, he's a muralist as well, and
Ah, okay, that explains
yep, yeah, he
it.
does lots of murals here in Phoenix. Yeah, they can find him down on Roosevelt Row if they're here in Phoenix, Arizona, and that's his art over
I would
here.
say, like, every page looks like it could be a mural.
Yep,
So
exactly, and
that
that's
makes
just.
total sense.
Mhm. And that's a style when we went into it. I wanted to come across a little different, as opposed to I like the bubbles and things like that, but I just wanted to keep it simple, almost kind of like reading a storybook
Yeah.
and checking out a wall of art and
Well,
then the
and the
reader.
word bubbles are great. They do serve their purpose, but
Mhm.
it's nice to have something different to look at once in a
Yeah,
while.
yeah, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, just a different vibe on that, and he brings that. Shout out to Creation 80. You know.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Check that out. Yeah, that's the scene when DJ Dimension gets he gets put under the spell by Davina. She's a electronic dance music dance floor machina. She's able to create AI images, and trick the ravers and the club kids into basically she wants to have the best festival in the NDM music universe, and she's not doing it the right way.
I mean, a lot of people who want the best music thing don't really tend to do it the right way.
Right, right.
Like, that's something
Exactly,
I've
yeah.
encountered a few times.
Yeah, so she has everybody under the influence, and we're trying to break the spell so then they can see they can eventually see real dance music and feel the real vibes.
Heck yeah, man. And
Yeah.
this all of this has led to you kind of running a DJ class,
Yes, yeah. I do a
which
DJ
is
class.
awesome. So you got to talk about this.
All right, cool. Yeah, this is Creative Dimensions DJ Workshop. This is a shot of a workshop that we did about a month and a half ago at downtown Glendale Library. We had about 10 kids, and everyone gets a certificate and gets to hang out with the title there, with the DJ mega title. And it's something that I've been doing now a little bit over 2 years. I created it. During COVID, hanging out there while making the comic book. I would hang out on my phone, and I'll play on a DJ app, Algorithm DJ Pro.
Just sitting there
And
making beats and stuff. And
yeah, yeah, yeah. And but at that time, I'm gonna be really honest. I kind of played with it more like a toy, because
right,
I have records, I have vinyl, I got all this stuff back here,
for sure.
so I was like, yeah, yeah, cool. This is cool. So I played with it for a little while, but then during COVID, I was like actually getting down on it on my phone, and then I'll plug it on Bluetooth, and I'm like, yo, this is dope. Hold on a
Like, I can
second. Then
actually
I'm
do
look,
some pretty good stuff with this. Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Then I'm looking at it, and I'm like, oh, you can see the bars and everything on there, and it's in the palm of your hands. So when things started to stir back up again, my son goes to the Boys and Girls Club, and I approached him, and I was like, hey, can I volunteer? And I'd like to do a DJ workshop for the kids. So I brought my just one iPad and this DJ setup up here, just my first one, and uh, and I hooked it up to a TV, and I started showing about 5 to 6 kids how to DJ, and I was like, and I can see how empowered they are, and the magic that they feel, and I'm just from touching the turntables, they're like, wow, this looks scary, it looks intimidating, but then
oh, I think the
they,
same thing looking at all that stuff. Even though I was
yeah,
doing music, I was a writer. I wasn't like
okay.
a DJ. I wasn't the producer.
Mhm.
like I was like, I write and I perform. I don't turn knobs, man. I don't know what
Yeah,
I'm
it's a
doing.
different thing. It's a different mind.
Totally different.
Yeah, it's a different mind, and
So
so
I
when
always
they
just
get,
stayed away from the DJ, let them do their thing. Like,
yeah, yeah, I need one of those. I need to be patient to get one of those to actually, because I have songs that I want to write, but then I have trouble on the opposite side
mm,
completing that part. I'm like, wow, this is interesting the way that works. So that's a
yeah.
cool point. So the Boys and Girls Club, I started, and I could really see how how they really enjoyed it, and I can see how my son enjoyed it. At that time, he was about 5, 6, and now he's about 8, and so I would work with him at home as well too, and he's been DJing since he was about a year old. So I can really see like the real feedback from the kids and him. So I was like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna really give it a shot, and I'm gonna throw out some proposals to schools and to organizations. And since then, I've worked with some amazing organizations with the Salt River Pima Indian community, with Free Arts, with some of the public schools, with the Emerson School District, with Empower School, and then I also have a bunch of other schools ready to go for the summer and the upcoming semester. And it's been an amazing, amazing experience where every kid gets to experience music in their way. They DJ on, using these iPads. I have little iPads here, and they have little DJ controllers, and each of them get that experience of getting on kind of like training wheels, so to speak, and then they get to DJ on the bigger units. Eventually, the goals are, if we do like a 6 week class, they throw their own party. They throw their own
Make their
showcase
own
kind of
set and
thing.
everything.
Right,
Yeah, that's
exactly.
awesome.
So, we have some type of celebration where the kids are acknowledged. Like they get a certificate. They get to hang out with the wrestling belt, and it's I we're being mega, and it's an amazing thing. They also get a copy of the comic book. So
I
that's
was gonna
how.
say, like,
Yeah.
talk about being mega and, like, kind of the summary of what the comic book is actually about, because just the whole message behind it is awesome.
Yeah, being mega stems from originally my music partner and I, William Azario, we're known as the Mega Men, uh, um, Mega Men DJ team. Back in the day, we would DJ on 4 to 6 turntables, and we were live streaming. And that time we came out on Strictly Rhythm, and some of those other record labels that we talked about. So that's a DJ group name that we continue to use through the years, and nothing to do with the game or anything like that. It wasn't even.
Right, right, right.
It was just something. We call ourselves the Mega Men, and we would pose like with b boys, and you know uh, throw on the glasses.
Oh, yeah, it's a whole vibe, dude.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a whole vibe. So we were the Mega Men, and after after I had my accident, I moved to Phoenix, and then he lives in Jersey now, and life's a little different, and we still call ourselves a Mega Man. We got the opportunity to DJ. I brought him out to Phoenix. We had a 20th anniversary party in 20, I think it was 2018, and that was the beginning of the comic characters. And we had the characters, casted on the wall, and we had a great crowd. And then 2 years ago, I brought him out to Fan Fusion. That's kind of like the Comic Con out here in
Oh,
Phoenix,
yeah.
and we DJ'd for the anime rave out here, and that was in front of like 2,000 people. And so we
Nice.
got.
Dude, they show out for those conventions.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was a
I
fun
went to
thing, and I.
9 of them last year, and they're all
Yeah.
insane. Like
Yeah, yeah. It was my first one, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. And I had these glasses with a light. I have a video on YouTube. I can send it to you. Of lights, and I had
yeah.
a jacket with lights on it, and really became the character for a good half an hour. And it was an amazing experience. I was jumping up in the air and
Oh,
and had
yeah, dude.
had the crowd pumping. It was amazing. It was so great that during COVID I didn't get COVID, and that day, it was after the whole thing was down. I caught some COVID that day.
You'll have that. We call
Yeah,
that the
yeah,
con crud too.
yeah. It happened later. I was like, man, what? Okay. So
I would say,
it was
knock on wood, I still have yet to get COVID, but
yeah, yeah. That was the one time. I guess it was kind of worth it. But it was a great experience.
but yeah, so the comic book being mega and the kind of the story in this comic.
Right. So being mega comes from we're the Mega Men, and then when I started the groups, the workshops, I was it became automatic for the kids to be the Mega ones, because they're the ones that are they're the ones that are fueling the energy in the NDM universe. So being inspired to get the wrestling belt, and in the comic book, they DJ Dimension transforms, and when he transforms, it's basically his transformation of him becoming Mega and becoming the best version of himself that he can be, and his friends and the people around him. Eventually, all the characters. It's not a spoiler or anything like that, but everyone joins together to save the NDM universe and to save the ravers and the club kids. So that's the way it ties together, because the kids in the workshops are encouraged and empowered to be the best version of themselves, whether it's becoming a DJ, whether it's becoming a music producer, whether it's becoming a teacher or a comic book artist, whatever they decide to do in their life, as long as it's Mega and it's going to work for them. And that's the equation that we give to them,
I
basically.
love it though, because
Thank you.
there's so many people putting out, like I said, there's amazing stories out there, but a lot of them are really dark over the last few years. There's a
Hmm.
lot of horror coming out. There's a lot of like just very adult themed things. And
Right.
there's not enough like positive, encouraging stuff for kids, I feel like sometimes.
It's needed.
So when this came across, like I instantly was like, yes, our listeners and viewers want more all ages oriented stuff. This is perfect.
All right. Thank you.
And it helps bridge fan bases, because you could be into music and be into comic books. I think there's multiple musicians who have done comics now. So I mean
Right.
that proves that right there.
Right. Right. Exactly. Exactly. It's a formula that goes back time. So it's from rock to hip hop
I'll
to
say they've been making
all,
comic
all
book references since the beginning. Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember as a kid having Kiss comic books, and
right.
then yep, and then as you got older, groups like Wu Tang have comic books.
Wu-Tang got
It's
into it pretty heavy too for a
yeah,
while.
yeah, yep, yep. And then it crosses boundaries where you have wrestlers that have comic books, and everyone has this desire to, uh, in one word or another, to be Mega, and that's where that comes from. So we're tapping into what's there when we do the workshops, when we publish the comic books. It's something that's out there. It's part of the culture, and if we're able to take responsibility and steer it in a way where it's cool for everybody, where we can leave a copy of NDMComix on the kitchen table, and a 3-year-old would like it, and a 60-year-old would enjoy it as well.
And then the
Because
parents don't have to worry about their kid opening it up and seeing something they probably shouldn't.
right, right, exactly, exactly. So and that helps to keep it in line with the workshops, and keep it in line with the message, because it's important. There's a lot of kids out here where just all over, where they need something different to see, and so this is it's an opportunity to do that, one by one workshop by one kid at a time. Eventually they get to read it, and they get to hold it, and they get to reflect on it, a little bit later in life, and be like, oh, cool, I remember when I was doing this, and it was something totally
Right.
different. So
No, I love it, man. Like this,
thank
it's
you,
literally one of the coolest projects I've come across in forever.
thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, it's turned out to be uh, very amazing, because I didn't know, originally what it was going to be, and I got major support from the Boys and Girls Club out here to get it kicked off, and the kids make it make it like a magical experience. I look forward to doing workshop, or if I could do it every day, I would, but
Right.
it's pretty amazing, and it's to see them from the beginning to when they transform to the end. It becomes a worthwhile process, very worthwhile.
So, how many issues of the book are out right now? And then, what are your kind of long term goals for it? Do you have any other stories in mind that you want to start making later down the line? Are there other genres of comics that you might be interested in making, or what are your
Okay.
plans for going forward?
Okay, cool. Yeah, well, we have we're up to issue number three, totally published. We're working now behind the scenes on issue four. Uh, there's enough content for it to be issue four and five, so I'm not really sure.
Might split
I'm
it up, might combine in one
yeah,
big like final thing, or
right. I'm thinking that about making one really nice book because I'm seeing that a lot of our customers they support the bigger book because I have comic book number one and it's more of like an anthology kind of thing with six
it's
stories
that
in it.
TikTok attention span, man. Everybody wants
Yeah,
to be
yeah,
able to binge it. They want to binge the
right.
whole thing.
Yeah, and then makes it into a collectible thing. So I'm looking at it a couple ways. I'm still splitting up the issues because there's people that I still like having the comic books, one, two, three,
Oh,
four,
yeah, I mean,
you
there's
know,
still a huge market of people who want the single
right.
issues.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm doing the books as well. And then moving forward, because issue number four would end the story, and the story is the battle to restore Ghetto Soul, which ends up in a AI generated wrestling match between Mega Men. I call them Mega Men Savage and Dark Matter and Acid Trip. Dark Matter is the villain that returns from issue number one, and he totally takes over everything. He's the ultimate uh, bad dude in the NDM universe. That beyond time, that's this is the
Right.
guy. So he basically takes over everything, and it takes the whole crew plus a little bit more to take him down. So that story wraps up in number four, and then I'm looking at number five, spinning out a bunch of short stories, which would be backstories to answer some of the questions.
Okay,
And
sort of like little, prequel episodes.
right, exactly. So I have during the story, I started out with three characters, and now I have I think I think I have about close to 10 characters now.
Hey, ain't nothing wrong with that. That's more stories to
Yeah.
tell, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it was just amazing how they so many are spun out, and they're all so cool the way they've woven into one another. And some of them are inspired by friends and life, and some of them are inspired by just imagination. And I would like to take the opportunity to work with different artists that I've been able to meet at different conventions and different comic shows, and some of them that I've been able to develop cool relationships with and get them on and create a series of short stories for number five. And then from there, um, spin it out. I'm not sure, but I would love to keep it going.
Oh, for sure. I mean, especially if
Yeah.
you've got that many characters, you
Yeah,
never know, you might end up making a couple more before the end of it.
right.
So,
Exactly.
if you've got
Exactly.
more characters, you've got more stories, the way I
Yeah,
look at it.
I could definitely see it to 10 because it's something that in 2018 I didn't know that it was gonna continue going, and now with issue number one, it's my most highest volume issue that's been out there, um, and it's not a lot, but it's still like a lot for me to
Hey,
make.
anything is better than nothing. That's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I would take the little wins all day.
yeah, all day. But having a few thousand out there, between customers that have purchased and the kids in the workshop,
I'll
it's
say a
it's
few thousand ain't
it's
no
it's
ain't nothing to
it's
shake a stick
amazing.
at, man.
Yeah. You're right. You're right.
I would
You're
say
right.
you ever fill a room with a few thousand people? That's a lot of people.
Yeah. You're right. You're right. Thank you, sir. Thank you for the reminder. So it's
I always
and
tell
finding.
people that I'm like, "Oh, I've only sold 100 copies." I'm like, "Have you ever seen a room full of 100 people? Like, that's a lot
Yeah,
of
yeah,
people."
yeah,
Like,
yeah. And it takes a lot of work and a lot of effort. I give a lot of props, and I've been learning along the process. With everyone that I've been able to meet and get information from, and switch it over and turn it into something that works across the board. I'm really grateful getting into the comic universe. it's been cool, for me, because it's like also with the comic books, I found a way to share my music in there. Like I have QRL codes
And I'll
with
say that's a
my,
cool
you
idea
know,
too, because I haven't seen anybody do that, I think.
that's it. It's kind of like the old school when they would play the record and you would have the book and open the book and the say the Batman comic book with ding, and then
Yeah.
the song, and you hear the narrator for that page. It's kind of like the
Oh,
same
yeah, I
idea.
remember those now.
Right,
Oh
right.
my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yep. So it's kind of like this. Yep. Same idea, except the reader would scan their phone. The reader scans their phone, and then it takes them to like kind of like a link tree where they can listen to it on Spotify, Tidal,
So it's
YouTube,
like a
whatever.
comic book with its own soundtrack attached to it.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
so
Yep.
awesome.
Yep. So I make the original music, and my music partner William Rosario, he makes more of the hip hop tracks. I make more of the electronic tracks. Then sometimes we fuse together to make just like weird stuff. And
Controlled chaos is what I like to call that kind of
yeah, 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 yeah,
stuff.
yeah. So with the beauty of being able to put out music independently, but the not so beautiful side of not being able to have the tangible so much anymore. Like we had the record, we came out on records, on CDs back in the day. Now our music becomes a tangible product again through the
Right, yeah, for
through
the
the comic
youngins
book.
out there, our music used to come on these things called CDs. They were like these discs like this.
Yeah, I think I got
Before
one
that,
over
it was
here.
cassette tapes and then 8 track, like
Here goes. Here goes. This was actually this is called Help to Heal a couple years ago.
Yeah, I
There
remember a
was
few
that.
of those style cases getting flung at me off the stage.
So this is check it out, kids.
That's
This is
how
what
we
we were
used to
talking
get
about.
demo discs back in the day, everybody. We would get those
See
thrown
that?
at us from a stage.
Yeah, these can get sharp over here, and it
Yes,
only
they can.
only fits about what 80 minutes of music on each
Yeah,
side.
about that.
So
If the
yeah,
songs are real short.
yeah, if they're short, yeah. If if you got the mega mix, it might last,
Yeah.
the whole time. Yeah, nice.
So, do you have any kind of like advice for anybody trying to start making their own comic book or somebody trying to like enter into the DJing scene, either or both?
I would say collectively, let's say um, for music, for art, for comic books, for producing, for anything that you do in life. Not to sound cliche, but really just do it. Find a way to get it started. If you love comic books, for example, for myself, I write the comic books. I have an idea, but I create, I collaborate with artists. I collaborate with people who color. I collaborate with people that know better Photoshop than me to edit my stuff. So then it comes out dope, and then the art is taken to the next level. So leaving yourself humble to help, to um, say, hey, not being afraid to ask those questions. That's going to take you to the next level, and not be afraid of making mistakes,
Oh
and,
yeah,
and
because
you know,
I hate to break it to anyone out there who doesn't think this, but you're gonna screw up.
you're gonna screw up. Yep. And enjoy the evolution. Like when I started book number one, uh, the art is awesome, and then I kind of rebooted, and issue number two was a different artist, and then the art has gradually become like better.
Yeah. It's
And
like they usually say for anything, like, if you can just focus on doing 1% better every time,
right, right.
eventually it'll be what you want it to be, like
Right, exactly. So enjoying the process, and enjoying the time, that it takes to be like, you're appreciative of the time that it takes to to do all these things. Some of us have regular jobs, 9 to 5 jobs. Some of us have families. So really, when you get that time to zone in, schedule to do it, and follow through, get it done, chip away. I would say if you're able to do something every day, even a half an hour, like get it done. It's like working out, and then it starts to feed itself. Just talking to you, I can see my email notifications when 3 times from different things that I'm involved in, and that's just talking in the last 45 minutes or something. So that's pretty dope. So what I'm trying to say is continue to water your seeds out there. So whatever you're doing, continue doing it, and be confident about it. For me, the confidence comes from uh, I really enjoy it. You got to really, really enjoy it.
Yeah, if it's
You
something
know.
you enjoy doing, you're gonna get better at it if you keep doing it.
Hmm.
So just act like you already know what you're doing, and eventually you
There
will
you
know what
go.
you're doing.
There you go. Yep. Exactly. Exactly. Like when
Nobody
I
needs to know you just started. Just tell them you've got something coming out. Like,
that's it. Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of like whatever we in the age of content is how we put it out there, and how we present it. So um, I kind of always say uh, in a weird way, like people are waiting for stuff, but then they don't know what they're waiting for. So
mhm.
then, so then it's nice, that as long as you're, like you said a couple minutes ago, you're consistent with it, you're bringing that quality, you start to inch it up bit by bit. Whatever reason you're trying to do it for starts to really shine through, and um, it's becomes a great experience for life. I'm going to be 55 years old this year, guys. And 20 years ago when I had my head injury, it could have been a whole different story. And so I'm really grateful to be here today, and pushing art, and pushing positivity, positive energy, in any way that we can.
Well, we need as much of it out there as we can these days, man.
Right.
And before we let you go, where can everybody find you online? Where can everybody check out the book? Where can everybody see what you're doing?
All right, cool. So the main home and the main hub for everything is ndmdigital.com. All right, ndmdigital.com takes us to comic book page, takes us to the workshop page. If anybody's interested in DJ services, everything is there. I updated at least once a week, so everything is very up to date. Also, some upcoming events that I have. I'm going to be a panelist this Friday at Phoenix Fan Fusion. Um, that's here in Phoenix at the Phoenix Convention Center. It's an Indie Comics Creator Showcase. And then later next month, I'll be part of the Gen X virtual comics festival that's going to be online, and they can also check all that out um, at ndndigital.com. NDN at the Gen X thing, I'm going to be providing music for that. We're going to have like a virtual lounge, and I'm going to be
Oh,
dropping the
nice.
beats for that, and then doing a little interview as well. So I'm coming in with that as a kind of like a virtual, like a sponsor and stuff. So it's pretty fun. It's fun to get involved in creative ways and to really take it, in directions that I would have never known possible. Really appreciative.
Heck yeah. So if you guys have been paying attention, there have been a couple QR codes on the screen. You can scan either one of those. Go back if you want to scan the other one. If you want to scan this one, one takes you directly to the website's homepage. The other one takes you to a free copy of the comic that you can check
Hmm.
out on the website. So it'll take you directly there so you don't get lost or anything like that. Also, make sure you check the description of this video so you can find links to follow Joseph on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, correct?
Yep, TikTok.
And it's
Yep,
at NDMComix everywhere, right?
yep. NDM Comics at TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Yep,
Cool.
NDM Comics with the
Awesome.
X.
See, there it is. And if you guys missed any of that on the screen, there is links to everything down in the description below. If you're listening on Spotify tomorrow, the day after this is aired live, you can also find it down in the description of the episode there as well. And if you want to help us support the independent comic book community and help support the show, check out our merch store, pick up a t-shirt, a hoodie, stickers. We've got all kinds of stuff. I'm going to be having some summer stuff in there real soon, some light colored stuff, so you don't have to bake in the heat all summer wearing the stuff. Because I understand black is not necessarily conducive to staying cool during the summer.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, especially out here in Phoenix,
I
it's
was gonna
already
say down there, I'm sure it's way worse than it is here right
yeah,
now. So,
we're already cranking over 100.
whew,
So
I thought it was hot
yeah,
here at 82.
yeah. But I think it gets different for you guys with the humidity.
It does get really humid here. Like we're in like
Yeah,
a bowl kind of deal, so everything just
yeah.
kind of settles.
Oh, okay. Yeah, same thing happens here. By August is like it's thick here.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
August and September are usually the worst here.
yep.
But on that note, everybody, make sure you check out all the stuff that we just told you to check out. Be safe, be kind. We will see you next week right here on the same channel at the same time. And as my guest would say, be mega. We will see you
All
next
right.
week, guys.
Be mega.